I'm pleased and really excited to be able to introduce MJ Towler, Marvin Towler, aka the Black Wine Guy. MJ's been in the wine business for over 20 years. He's worked in retail, wholesale, and is the first African-American fine and rare wine auctioneer. He was also recently named Wine Enthusiast Future 40 Tastemaker. And lifelong journalists and former Wall Street Journal wine columnists Dorothy Gaither and John Brecker declared him an extraordinary interviewer. So in the short time since he launched the Black Wine Guy Experience podcast in the fall of 2020, MJ has become a sought-after and respected force in the wine media, climbing quickly to number 17 on Apple's food podcasts. Pretty awesome. Before breaking down the walls between race and wine in ways that are fun and welcoming to all on his podcast, MJ caught the wine bug working storied retailer Acker Wines in New York City, and in a few short years became the first ever Black fine wine and rare wine auctioneer. So, very pleased to introduce MJ to you. And before he comes out, I just want to mention that if you're interested in having bubbles after this, they're doing bubbles for BMAC at The Thief, $20 per person. Is it right, Liz? Okay. All right. And let's welcome MJ out.
Hey everybody, what's up? It's your boy MJ. Welcome to the Black Wine Guy Experience live at the Giza Palace here in Walla Walla, Washington. I don't want to get choked up, but it's amazing to be here. Because I launched the podcast, and I want to thank you so much for being here because I take it seriously. Anybody who spends 90 to 2 hours out of their 90 minutes, 2 hours a week listening to my dumbass talk, I'm really appreciative for. I didn't know what it was going to be when I started the podcast, but I was very fortunate. It came out of the gate really strong. I've had incredible guests. But for me, it's about the stories. I love wine. And what I love about wine, I love the way wine brings people together. I think it's the perfect beverage for having discussions, even difficult discussions. I like to tell people I've never seen a fight break out at a wine tasting. But if you're in the frat house and there's some Jaeger and there's some Natty Light, somebody's gonna get their ass whooped. But wine is just when I got into wine in '97, I caught the bug, and it's ever evolving. It changes every year. You can never know everything about it, which is what I love. I've had masters of wine on the podcast, and that's the reason why they do it, that you just can't know it all. And I think being a lifelong learner really keeps you alive, So it's a very fascinating beverage, and I love the people I met and the connections we make, and it is really super exciting. Connected with Carrie and the crew at the Walls. I want to, first of all, also thank Mike, Carrie, Valerie, Kathryn, Kyla, and Todd, the whole team at the Walls Vineyard. It was during the pandemic. I had got known for pairing music lyrics with wine reviews, and I had bought a bottle of 2016 Curatas from the Walls, and I did a review on it. And this guy named Me Todd started following me. It's his Instagram handle. And then about a month later, a box of wine shows up out of nowhere. And it's got Walls, and it's got all the people with Force Majeure, and it's got everybody it works for. And I knew about the wines from reading Jeb Dunnick, and I was just super excited. And then I tried the wines, and in 2020, it's hard to be up here. I was like, everybody's doing their top 10 lists of wine. So I was like, well, fuck it, you could do a top 10 list. And for me, what makes a wine exceptional is it's a number of things. Have I had the varietal before? What's going on with it? And I had never had Todd's wines before. And in that first year, 3 of his wines made my top 10, and it was just astounding. And so consequently, I've really connected with the Walls. I've done several vintage releases with Kathryn. Thank you so much, and Mike. But enough about me. It's about my guests. I'm here to get their stories. A lot of you know them, but what I've found is you're going to learn something about them you didn't know tonight, right? Because you can read a lot. We'll get into wine, but all that shit's in the text sheets. You can go on the website and read the text sheets if you want to know about the bricks and the clonal selection. You guys all know about the soil you have here, right? So I'm not going to take any more time because I'm going to use it to interview people. And thank you so much for welcoming me. And I just have to say, you guys want to be here. I feel for my wife. She has to sit through 2 hours of this, and she lives with me all. And it's my beautiful wife, Pamela, right there. And, she's listened to one of my 84 episodes, so she's like forced to listen to this. So thank you, baby. I appreciate you. I love you. And let's get this party started. All right, who we got? And I'm going to be filling with my glasses because I don't want to get readers. I don't want to admit how old I am, how bad my eyes are. Who can relate? You. No, you come on. Yeah. All right.
I'm a goer.
All right, so how you doing?
I'm good, MJ.
You can adjust your mic. Feel comfortable. What do you got?
I'm
You know what you're supposed to do?
They told me not to twist, but to lift.
Okay,
but I think I twisted already.
We got to get you a glass. Hang on.
Yeah, one glass. What's that? Here, I'm going to pour. We're going to be efficient with your time.
No, it's your time. Or actually, no. Since you're here and I'm here, I think it's kind of like our time,
It's
Mr.
our time.
Hand.
We're here together.
For all you got. Thanks, Mike. Mike got it. Yeah, exactly. So here's what we're going to do. Here's how it's going to go. If this was I have a lot of people to speak to today. And not as much time as I like to have with each one of you. But here's the deal. If you do well, I'll think about having you on the podcast proper, all right?
It's a test. Oh, he starts off with a test?
No, but seriously, let's just hop right into some questions. Yes, we will. We're going to hop into some questions, but first, I have notes. I've been reading since I'm 4 years old.
This man's prepared.
So my guest, to most of you here, my guest today needs no introduction. But for all of those who will watch this later on live stream, all 5 of you, Ashley, please introduce yourself and also what you do.
My name is Ashley Trout, and I am the owner and winemaker of Brook and Bull Cellars and the owner of and founder of Vital Wines.
Woo! All right, and tell me what we're drinking tonight.
I brought Malbec. This is our reserve Malbec.
Okay. And why is it a reserve Malbec?
'Cause it's great.
Good answer.
No, I wanted. For me, it's really important that, and it's a lot of what you do too, right? You sort of take what people think they know, right? Malbec's a cheap wine. It comes from, Argentina in large part, right?
Spoiler alert.
Right? And I wanted to twist it on its head and show people what it can really do and change perspective, right? And so that I thought it was fitting for tonight.
Really cool. Well, thanks for bringing it. I'm gonna taste some wine with you. So I like to start like at the beginning. So very quickly, where did you grow up?
Washington, D.C.
Ooh, East Coast girl.
Yeah.
D.C. proper or in the Beltway somewhere?
Yeah, D.C. proper.
Wow.
I know. I think that's
like
why
when it was Chocolate City, you were in D.C.
That's right. Yeah, that's true too. I think I got into college because then when they accept me, they get the little asterisk that says, and the District of Columbia, right? Like we've got all these kids from all these states, and I was the asterisk.
So was your family into wine when you were growing up? Were you exposed to it as a child?
No.
Okay. So when did you fall in love with wine?
I fell in love with the job before I fell in love with wine. So I'm from DC and then tidbits of LA, and I wanted to go to college in a small town because I figured there's no way I'd wind up there otherwise. Yeah, have a drink. No. And while I was here, a week after I moved to this very small agricultural town that was very different from DC, I saw an opportunity to do the nighttime punch downs at a winery, and I thought, I was 18, and I thought, well, that's what you do when you're 18. Right?
Punch downs.
Someday I'm going to grow up and get a real job, but for now,
obscure town.
right? And you know, when in Rome, right? You're in an agricultural community, you're in a small town. What else is there to do? Let's go do it. And I loved it. I loved it. I loved the workout. I loved the smells. I loved that I could be alone and play music and feel the feels and have these moments that were nothing but sensory, right? And I loved the adrenaline rush of the seasons. You go, and then you calm down, and you analyze, and you step back, and I loved every part of it. And then it wasn't until probably my third harvest that we had it was a 1999 Cab Franc at that time, that we were sitting on the back porch, and we were exhausted, and the sun was setting, and I think I was still like dripping wet from something, and you're just sticky and you're gross, and then you have this moment.
You guys getting a sexy picture, right?
Well, I do. Yeah, I didn't mean that, but sure. I mean, you know, whatever you take what you need, right? And it just hit me. It was like, oh, you know, this is why we do this for other people, right? That they get to experience the product. But for me, it was always about the journey. It's my kind of journey. I love it.
Well, I love that because I've done like 85 interviews for the podcast and probably another 100 IG lives. I've never heard anybody say they got into wine for the job, because it's not like you know, what were you making, $5 an hour?
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah. I didn't say the salary. No, that's different. No, you're putting words in my mouth. No, I got into it for the journey, right? I didn't grow up in an environment where you were taught that your body was a source of intellect, right? That your smell was a version of intellect, or that your sight or your touch or that those were forms of intellect, right? DC's filled with a lot of smart people, but it's in a very cerebral way, not a visceral way. And for me, that was so cool.
Yeah. I totally get that. So, first of all, wine's pretty freaking amazing.
Thank you.
You make a Malbec. You spent some time in Argentina, though, I believe?
Right. Yeah, 8 harvests.
Wow. And where did you work when you were down there?
I bounced around. I had fun all over. I did Alta Vista quite a few times, actually, and then Mendel and Tapiz and Tamari, and started my first brand while I was in many ways down there. And no, I had a good old time. The 20s were good. My 20s were good.
Yeah, the 20s were good.
Weren't they?
They were good.
I have no regrets.
Neither do I. So you mentioned you how did you find Walla Walla, though? Like, you small town, how does that happen? How does one from DC just throw a dart on a map or something?
I looked for a small college in a small town that people had good things to say about, and that was it.
Very cool. So we're going to have some fun questions, a few more before I let you go, okay?
Game on.
All right, game on. She's serious. Like you said, you don't regret your 20s. You enjoyed your 20s. What advice would you give your younger self?
I did a lot right in my 20s.
Things you don't hear every day.
No, you know what okay. Yeah, I think my advice that I would give my younger self is you're worth it, and not that I had. I've always been confident, but I think ladies, especially in terms of, I'm an entrepreneur. I own the business. I own Brook and Bowl, and just sort of those movements. And this was not my first winery. I started another one before it. Those movements that I think women especially are a little more shy-footed on. yeah, just go guns a-blazing on some of that. That's probably financially reckless advice for a lot of people, but I regret that. Yeah, I regret not going bigger, harder, earlier, stronger.
Love it. And what's that like for you? You made a good point. You just said that. What's it like for you to be a female winery owner in this male-dominated business?
I love it. No, truly. I think that we all, whatever generations, get caught up in sort of playing the victim and finding the lazy spots and taking, whatever excuses. And I think it's actually so much easier just to find those easy wins, right? And I think women should have no shame in that, right? Like, I think if you've got 900 wineries in Washington State, then your number one most difficult piece in running that winery is how do you stand out, right? And the truth is, everybody's making good wine. Like, are there some bad winemakers? Yeah, but I think it's the exception.
They're not here tonight.
They're not here tonight.
Just so you guys know.
Yeah, no, I think, the Washington wine industry, what I really mean is the soil, the terroir, the climate, it's really set up for success. And so how do you stand out when you've got 900 mostly really great wineries? And it takes me and the other women that I can count on two hands, no effort at all, right? What a gift is that?
Yep.
And I don't see why you should fight it, and I don't see why you should ignore it, and it makes everything easier. So I love it. I love being a female in a male-dominated industry.
I love that answer. Y'all should clap for that. All right. We'll go a little lighter, but that was a great answer. Thank you. I really resonated with me. Who would you most like to have a bottle of wine with?
Alive or not alive?
Alive or dead. I have a flux capacitor in the back. We'll bring them back.
God, that's a really hard one. I mean, I think one of the fun moments, the fun moments I have in the tasting room, walking around on Thursdays and Fridays and whatever else, is just that, like, everybody's got some crazy story to tell, or something that they're passionate about that I'm super not passionate about. That you're like, tell me more. Why in the world would you be passionate about this, right? And I love that. Growing up in DC, I got to talk to a lot of really, really interesting people, and I don't feel like I've been shirked on any of that. I don't know. I'm going to come back to that. For now, it's you. How's that?
We'll put that on the parking lot. Oh, good answer.
Yeah.
All right, so most memorable bottle of wine you had?
Oh, it was that 99 Camp Franc on the back porch where I realized it was the Reininger 99 Camp Franc. That was the winery I started working for. Worked there for 8 years, and there was something about that moment. I was with my people, and we had a long day that was hard, and then you have that moment where there's art and a sunset and your people.
All right. So last question. This is, you thought who you want to have a bottle was tough. We're gonna play a little game. It's called FMK. Fuck, marry, kill. 3 grapes. You get to fuck one, you got to marry one, you got to kill one off. Cabernet Sauvignon, Malbec, or Merlot. Who you fucking, who you marrying, who you killing?
Oh, I'm definitely fucking the Malbec. It's very
fuckable.
Yeah, it's kind of slutty.
Yeah, it could be slutty, and then it could be lean and austere, and
or
like
not,
prudish.
or not.
Just dressed prudishly, and then okay, so you're fucking Malbec.
Yeah, for sure. She's easy. He's. And then Merlot or Cab?
Yeah, you got to marry Merlot, or marry Merlot or Cab, or you got to kill Cab.
I did marry Cab. That's not theoretical. Yeah. Everybody in the audience knows it's a small town. They know who I married.
I figured,
I married that.
I'm new here.
You're new here? Yeah, you would love him. He's great, but slightly classier than myself. And then I'd kill Merlot. Although, variety is the spice of life. I feel that way.
Yeah.
I don't really want to kill anyone at all. I have a tough time with Chenin Blanc.
I wasn't on the menu.
I know. I just like being
for the
I'm just
record.
being honest. I'm an honest lady.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for playing. Thank you for sharing your wine. It's absolutely delicious. Since this is being recorded and live stream, tell people where they can find you, how they can be a part of what you're doing.
Oh gosh. So please find Vital Wines. That should be findable, nonprofit for better access to health care for vineyard workers and their families.
Nice.
You can find that on the website. And Brook and Bull, we tend to sell out of pretty quickly. We're not found in a lot of places, not widely distributed. So just the tasting room and the website, and sign up for the wine club and the allocation list.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ashley.
Thank you, MP.
Yeah. I hate to do it, but I'm going to have to dump this. Or that's why it'd be the banged up podcast with the black wine guy. All right, I have a little taste of it. There you go. Awesome. A little, no, it's fine. Oh, there we go. We'll have a little Meritage.
A little Meritage.
All right, here we are back again. So for most of you guys, my guest does not need an introduction, but there's lots of people who don't know who you are, so please introduce yourself and tell everybody what you do.
Yeah, my name is Matt Austin, and I'm the owner and winemaker of Grow Grain Vineyards here in Walla.
Woo-hoo! Well, Matt, thank you so much for coming this afternoon and being here and being brave enough to sign up for this list and sit down with my silly ass. And we have a mutual friend, Victor Schwartz.
Yes, our distributor in New York.
Yes. They were excited that I was interviewing you.
Oh, very cool to hear.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, sell some wine. All right, so like I said, we don't have a whole lot of time, so I'm going to ask you some questions, probably similar to ones that I asked Ashley. Hopefully your answers will be different. Matt, where'd you grow up?
So I grew up in South Florida, the Tampa Bay area.
Oh, I love Tampa Bay. I love that area, that west coast of Florida. We were supposed to move to St. Petersburg, but I digress. So was your family into wine growing up?
Not at all. If there was wine in the house, it had an ice cube in it, most likely.
It's very Florida. It's because it's hot. Yes. Has nothing to do with the level of sophistication of his parents.
Little.
Or maybe it does. When did you fall in love with wine?
Yeah, it was really when I met my wife, which I had a different passion kind of early in life. It was music, and I grew up playing guitar and kind of thought I was going to have a career in music, although probably not as a guitarist, which the odds are definitely stacked against you in that regard. But I moved to Los Angeles for law school, was hoping to work in the industry.
Oh, you did that?
Yeah.
You did that too?
Yeah, which I looked up your background.
Yeah,
I saw a
you
little
did
bit of
that
that there too. Yeah.
Did you practice law at all?
I did. So I practiced for about 10 years.
Okay.
And so I'd hoped to work for a record label or representing bands, something like that. But I graduated law school in the early 2000s, which was kind of a low point for the business.
Yep.
Kind of the death of the CD and Napster and all that. So had problems finding work in that side of things, and ended up kind of having to take the work I could get. And so I worked in civil litigation, tax, all the terrible things.
All the things all the things that are not on TV shows like LA Law.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it was never something I really kind of found my place in. And at the same time, when I met my wife, who's from the Seattle area, we kind of started getting into wine together. And once we took our first trip to Santa Barbara, it really kind of something clicked in my brain where I really wanted to just start learning more about wine, and eventually I started kind of going overboard with the hobby in a way where I was kind of neglecting my career, and so something had to give. And so,
that happens.
Yeah, so I quit my job and went back to school, and we decided to do it in the Northwest where Kelly was from. We'd kind of really become excited about the growth and just kind of youth of the industry here. It just seemed like a really exciting place to be, and so that was about 10 years ago.
Nice. Well, what did you bring for me to try today?
Yeah, so I brought some Grenache, which is a grape.
You did do your research on me.
Yeah, yeah, really kind of a grape that I'm passionate about. We work with a number of different vineyards, and it's a grape that I feel is just super expressive of terroir. And this one is a blend of two vineyards within the Yakima Valley, one of them being a vineyard called French Creek, which is kind of a cooler site, kind of down by the Yakima River. The rest coming from Red Mountain, a vineyard called Red Heaven,
oh, wow.
Which is also within the Yakima Valley, and really kind of two different places. One that's bringing real kind of finesse, and the other one bringing a little kind of texture and power. So really trying to make a very kind of delicate style of wine in general, and the Grenache I think really best reflects that, which is why I bought it today.
Yeah, really cool, man. I think I say all the time that Pinot Noir wants to be Grenache when it grows up.
Yeah.
Because Grenache is hardier. It can, and it can run a full gamut, and it's just not as finicky, Yeah. And it's not as expensive as Burgundy.
Right.
So I love that. So you said you got into wine with your wife. What was the bottle that like really set you off on this journey?
Yeah, we went out to dinner one of our early dates. It was a restaurant called Blair's, which is in the Silver Lake area of LA. And I didn't have a lot of experience ordering wine. The sommelier came up to me and I asked for some help in ordering something, and he selected a Sonoma Coast Pinot Noir from a producer called Fort Ross. And so, yeah. And
this is so fucking good.
Probably. Oh, thank you. But yeah, that was the first time I'd ever kind of spent some significant money on a bottle of wine, and it really kind of opened my eyes. And yeah, we planned the trip to Santa Barbara the next week.
So I lived in Santa Barbara. Where'd you go visit? I'm just curious. Who'd you hit
on that first trip, we went to Melville, Foxen. Those are the two. There was one called Consilience at the time. I don't think
remember
it's around
Consilience
anymore, but yeah.
Because I was there in '99. I remember Consilience. I don't think it's around anymore.
But we had it was such a great time, and we started planning trips to other wine countries. Just really kind of, gave us that inspiration to kind of dive deep into it.
Sweet. So I know how you ended up in Walla Valley because your wife was from this area or from the Northwest, and so who would you most like to have a bottle of wine with?
I'd say Kermit Lynch. I don't know if you've had the opportunity to meet him, but he's been very influential on me, both as a winemaker and a consumer back when I was just a fan of wine. I always kind of knew if I saw the Kermit Lynch kind of label on the back of a bottle, I knew that was something I'd be inspired by, and I've always kind of liked people who take kind of a light hand with winemaking, and he, I don't know if you've read his Adventures on the Wine Route, but that was a book that was very influential on me as well, as far as techniques we use in the winery and so forth. And never had the chance to meet him. Would love to pick his brain about his travels kind of early on in his wine career.
Very cool, man. As a what do you call lawyers? Esquires? What else they call us? Assholes, sharks. What advice would you give your younger self?
I'd say to really, look at yourself when kind of deciding what you want as a career, because, when it comes down to it, I don't really love conflict, which is not a good.
No,
that's not a good.
You weren't cut out for it.
Attorney. Yeah. So. So yeah, I don't know what I was thinking there, but yeah, I think I don't know if I would have found wine at that time, have not been exposed to it, but and in one way or another, I found my way to the right place. But yeah, that would have helped.
And here's a question I'm going to ask you that Ashley's going to be like, why didn't he ask me that? Kind of what's your philosophy at your winery?
Yeah, it's, really to try to express the sites we're working with. I don't want to cover things up with a lot of oak or, heavy extraction, things like that. I really want things that are very pretty and delicate, things that are kind of refreshing to drink. And so, when I first got into wine, I just got inspired by trying new things, trying different varieties, seeking out new regions, things like that. So we work with a pretty broad range of varieties. We've got about 16 varieties planted in our 2 estate vineyards. We work with a lot more. This vintage we brought in 21 different varieties. So I just really like to experiment and be very playful in the way we produce the wines.
Very cool. And also, I see why you're such a fan of Kermit Lynch, because terroir-driven wines. Very cool. Tell me one thing you love about your life.
Yeah, it's kind of having the freedom to be creative. You know, when I was a musician, you know, that was kind of everything to me, was just being able to express myself. And you know, when I was an attorney, you know, I felt kind of locked in, and it just, yeah, it was not a great experience for me. And so now I'm back being able to kind of express myself through the wines. Walla is an amazing place to live too. I mean, I spent a lot of time in the big city, and I can't imagine a better place to be than here. It's just a really remarkable community here, and yeah, really special place.
All right. FMK time.
Yeah. All right.
I'm going to give you 3 grapes. I'm really going to fuck with you. Okay, so Pinot Noir, Grenache, Nebbiolo.
Oh, man.
Told you I was going to fuck with you.
All right, so what are we going to start with? I would marry Grenache. Grenache is the one that I'm kind of sticking with through
pretty.
thick and thin. Yeah, that's kind of my basis.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'd be fucking Nebbiolo. That's a sexy grape. And, yeah. We grow a little bit of Nebbiolo. I'm still working on mastering that here, but that one, yeah, that's an elusive kind of grape that that's the one. And so I guess that leaves Pinot Noir, which that's not where I would normally position them, but if we're dealing with those grapes, that's where it's going to be.
Yeah. I mean, we feel like, if people want me to ask, yellowtail, barefoot, or box wine. No, this is going to be hard.
Yes.
Okay. Well, thanks so much for taking some time. Please tell everybody out there where they can find you, how they can be a part of what you're doing at Gross Grand Vineyards.
Yeah, so we're distributed in about a dozen states now, but you can find us all over Washington, especially at the Thief, if anyone's going there for the sparkling wine flight tonight. So, yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Exactly. Like,
Yeah,
these
come
are like,
see us at the winery
you
on the
could
South.
totally be like, join our wine club, get on our list, exclusive details, insider notes from me.
And buy us through VOS in New York.
There you go. Well, Matt, thank you so much, man, for taking us some time with me.
Yeah.
Wine's really good. I hope you guys learned something about them. Thanks, man.
All right, thanks for having me.
I didn't want to give that bottle back. I didn't want to give any of these bottles back, but what am I going to do with 10 open bottles of wine in 3 days? Hi. They like you. They're whistling. They're like, woo woo.
Well, everybody likes sparkling.
Mm-hmm. No, well, put someone's eye out. Oh, she's fancy. Thanks for the rinse, though. I'm not even mad. Fancy, huh? Yes. Hey, Applebee's, there's $1 boneless wings right now going on. Yeah, buy a burger and you get $1 boneless wings. Okay. My next guest is George Ann Robertson. George Ann.
Yes.
Tell everybody what you do.
What do? I am the winemaker at Yellowhawk Resort. I'm the only one that's not an owner. I'm feeling a little insecure about that right now. Damn. Dan Thiessen, could you give me a piece?
You got to, listen, you heard Ashley, you got to ask what you want, you got to take it.
I know.
So we actually met at Hospice briefly.
We did.
Which was a blur, pretty much like this weekend's going to be after this shit is over. But yeah, where'd you grow up? Where are you from?
Oh, I'm from Melville, not like the
Not
fancy
the winery.
winery,
Yeah.
but Melville, Saskatchewan in Canada.
Oh,
A little hockey town.
you could pull that a little closer to yourself. I know
Oh,
the sound guys.
okay.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, you're fine.
Okay, thank you.
You're from Canada, eh?
I am.
Right on. Everybody. Was your family into wine?
No, but I was.
Like they were like drinking Labatt's Blue and Molson and all that stuff. Beer, or just not a drinking family?
Well, actually, it was a heavily drinking family.
Oh, what's that? What's that?
But there was wine in the family, but
Crown Royal. That's what I was thinking. What's the big
Crown,
whiskey?
yeah, in the purple bag.
Purple bag. It's very
Awesome.
big where
Put
I
your
grew up
change
too.
in that. Baby Duck was my preferred
Okay.
at a young age. So I was always into the sparkling.
Baby Duck.
Yeah, it was a Canadian sparkling wine.
It was a Canadian. It was Cold Duck here. I'm sure. I'm
I
sure it
think
was the
so.
same. It's probably Hugh Blind or one of those old companies, Seagram's, and like Cold Duck was here, but it was Baby Duck.
You know those like otter pops? It tastes like a melted otter pop that's got some carbonated product to it. So yeah, I think my tastes have actually improved.
Well, I'm sure they have. So, you come from this really sophisticated wine background.
I know.
When did you fall in love with wine?
Pretty early on.
This is nice.
Thank
It's
you.
got a little yeast, but it's clean. I like the citrus notes on it.
Not a lot of time on the leaves.
Yeah, I'm not a big
Lazy guy.
lazy guy.
I'm not either.
Yeah.
But, I can't only make wine for my
No,
palate.
listen, not if you want to sell it.
Yeah, exactly. But what was the question?
When did you fall in love with wine?
Oh, gosh. Well, I've always liked wine, I kind of early on liked that Baby Duck and then kept on going. And then I went to restaurant and hotel school and really learned a lot about wine there. So kind of started falling in love with wine there. But then, paths change. So that part of my life changed. And then I got into wine again much later. So.
Okay. So I know it's not Baby Duck. I know that really started for you.
Mm-hmm.
I would say, what made you come back into wine? What did you drink? Was there a bottle? Was it an experience you had?
Well, I think it was, I'm spacing on the name of the show now, but it was kind of like a soap opera on wine. And
Oh, was it Falcon Crest?
yeah, Falcon Crest.
Okay.
So I kind of wanted to resonate with that lifestyle. And
She kind of
so I
thought
was like,
Lorenzo
"Damn
Lamas
it."
was hot.
I remember that show, and I really want to be like that. I want to be like that mean woman, So,
The wine witch.
so yeah, I was a fitness professional at the time, and I thought, that's aging out. And so I went back to school and studied wine.
Very
and here
cool.
I am.
Where'd you study wine? Up here?
Here.
I gotta tell you, it's so cool. Like your community college has like this wine program.
Yeah.
Right? Kudos to you guys for that. Like you're not spending $50K a year to go to Davis or shit like literally. That's so cool. So, did you come here to go to school?
I did.
Wow. Look I'm sensing a theme here. Like this is like the manifest destiny for winemakers. Like, it's a place to come where you can still afford to do it and get educated and it seems like really support a community. That's very cool. Talk about why you chose to primarily make Did you just sparkling, just 100% at Yellow Hawk?
Yeah, and it was really fortunate for me because I came to school and I really wanted to make sparkling wine, but there was nothing sparkling in Walla Walla at the time. But
Except for the personalities of the people.
yeah, it's so sparkling. Thank you for
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
I didn't know if you were talking about me or not, but I took it as a compliment.
I mean, you're quite bubbly.
So at school, our instructor, Tim Donahue, also really liked sparkling. and I did my internship at the CC and also at Seven Hills, but they were like, you can make any wine you want, you can do it. And it was kind of like that, but not really. But anyway, Tim and I became pretty close in, him giving me as much knowledge as possible in sparkling wine. But then I graduated and I was like, well, there's nowhere to make sparkling wine here, and I did something different. But I got a job during COVID in Japan making sparkling
The
wine.
COVID, as we call
The
it.
COVID.
The Facebook, the COVID.
And I don't think they hired me for my wine skills, honestly. It was all over the phone, and they hired me because I'd lived in Japan before.
Oh, okay.
But I flew over there. I landed, started going through customs, and they said, hey, your visa's no good here because you're not an actual resident. I'm like, but I have a residence, but you haven't been there. So I got shipped back like 15 minutes later. Oof. And yeah, it sucked. They put me in the exact same seat as well. So I'm like, I'm not sitting there.
Still warm.
They wouldn't let me go to Hawaii or anything. They just said back to Seattle in January. So I didn't know what I was going to do. Ended up going back to Canada, and then got a call saying, Yellowhawk is looking for a winemaker. Are you still interested? And I said, you're damn right I am.
Supersonic. All right. I'm gonna FMK you.
Oh, gosh. Okay, great.
And I'm
you
this is
you
gonna
don't
be
want to
hard.
know who I'd have a bottle of wine with?
Oh, do
I've
you want to know?
thought-
Yeah, you got to answer because it's funny because, like, you've had time to think about it.
I
Like,
know,
but
for
yeah,
Ashley.
sure. Who would you like to?
I would choose the Widow Clicquot.
Ooh,
Wouldn't she be amazing to have a, my
that's
God.
good. I mean, for me, just it's your who you. I would go for Madame Bollinger because I like Bollinger more than Veuve. So.
Oh, but okay.
But
It's not your question.
It literally is. I wrote it. And now I'm gonna go trademark this. And she's like, it's not your question. It's my podcast.
See, that's the Vulcan crest coming out in me.
I love exactly. Yeah, very good. Okay, so as a sparkling winemaker,
Yes.
FMK, who you fucking, who you marrying, who you killing? Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, Pinot Meunier.
I'm killing Meunier. Fucking Pinot Noir.
Okay.
And I'm going to marry Chardonnay. I mean, jeez. She's like a tofu of wine. You can do whatever you want with that thing. Don't you think?
Yeah, you might want to fuck Chardonnay then.
Well, yeah. Again, you're taking my question.
I'm just
You wanna
we're here
fuck
to we're here to
Chardonnay.
No, I would kill Chardonnay
Okay.
and I would fuck Pinot Meunier. I love a Blanc de Blanc. I love Pinot Meunier. It's so underrated in my opinion. But that's not. We're not here for that.
All right.
Last thing. Tell me one thing you love about your life.
I'm pretty independent and
And pretty in pink too.
just have a good support group and yeah, I feel really fortunate in my life. So thank you.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm gonna have a little bit more of this.
Yeah.
But you gotta go. Love you. Thank you so much.
Do you want me to fill it up?
Such a good sport. Yeah. All right. I might just grab another glass. Just grab me another glass. That's really good. I'm not even a sparkling chompers guy. That's really good. All right, all right, all right, all right. Now, I know this guy needs no introduction to you, but again, for everybody who's not here, please introduce yourself and tell everybody what you do.
My name is Stacy Buchanan, and I publish Blood of Gods. It's a biannual print publication. It's been out for a little over 2 years, about 2.5 at this point. That I joke is kind of like the joke itself that went too far and became real, and it's now a thing. So if you guys haven't heard of it or are not familiar with it, there's some free copies up front too, so grab one on your way out.
Really cool. So I think this is incredibly interesting that you have a graphic novel pretty much about heavy metal and wine. Where'd you grow up, man?
I'm actually Walla native, 5th generation
Come on,
farming
gotta go,
family.
woo,
Yeah,
woo.
so I come from a long line of wheat farmers. So I was originally from Walla. I got out of Dodge for a little while. Left around 99. Came back around the beginning of 2007 when, as most people in this room knows, was a big, like the powder keg blew. The land rush was on. Between 99 and 2007 when I was gone, I think we actually measured it was 13 wineries or so to about 113 when I came back. So it was just this crazy transformation when I left. So long roots, deep roots in Walla, and kind of cool to see the perspective and see the evolution, the change.
Very cool, man. What'd you bring to share?
This is a 2012 Corliss Red Blend, predominantly the Noble Bordeaux varietals. So Cab, there's actually some Cab Franc, some Petit Verdot. And 2012 is kind of this landmark banner year. I think ever since then we've had nothing but really predominantly good vintages. They all have variation and they flux a little bit, but that was the one that seemed to have seasons change on time and the temperatures were ideal in each season. And yeah, that's one of those banner years.
You know, one of the best parts about doing this is people like to bring impressive bottles of wine. Everybody's bringing a house. This is really good, by the way, man. So, you were in music, right?
Yeah, well, just, in high school and in college, kind of like Matt, I was into guitar, just kind of for fun, played in bands that were mainly at like house parties, battle of the bands, those kinds of fun things. And then I had the crossroads sort of post-college where you're like, where am I going to go? What direction am I going to do? And I wound up going into the music industry, but working for a record label. So I kind of did the quintessential postgraduate thing where you sold most of the possessions you feel like you could part with, which was my guitar and my amp. Really was painful at the time.
Oh.
Yeah. And then moved to LA and worked for a record label there for a few years, and then eventually Germany. And then that was the majority of the time when I was gone before I came back. So yeah, I definitely had that that bug. I think I got it from my dad. My parents are both kind of hippies. My name's Stacy. I'm a guy. That was kind of the, kind of like I joke, it's like Johnny Cash's, the boy named Sue.
Yeah.
They did this kind of silly, really silly now that I think about it, game where when my mom was pregnant, if I came out as a girl, my mom got the naming rights, so to speak. And if I was a boy, my dad got to name me and came out as a boy, but he kind of flipped the script and sort of put the gender thing on its head. And so every once in a while, people, especially with Blood of Gods, I haven't communicated with people over the phone or in person. It's through email. So sometimes people will say, "Hey, girl," or, those kinds of things that is kind of an interesting thing. It's actually really cool. It puts things in different perspective, especially in light of, there's been so much stirred up and brought out into the light with like the Me Too movement and just, etiquette in general. And so that was, it's always kind of been there for me though.
Yeah, you could always tell people I was named after Stacy Keach. She was a badass in the movies back in the day,
And skateboarding, Stacy Peralta.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm a big music and wine guy. How did you draw the parallels between heavy metal and wine?
Well, it was kind of like I said at the intro, sort of that joke that went too far where my first tour when I was 20 was Black Sabbath, and my mom was really nervous. I went out I was from Walla, and this is Walla, in 1999, which is very different, and my mom's really like devout Catholic and thought it was just going to be sex, drugs, and rock and roll all the time. I was really nervous, and it was like not just because after the fact I did punk tours that were like sleeping on strangers' floors, but this was like flown across the country in a tour bus for like 8 to 10 weeks at a time, like really fancy and really nice.
Stacy, stay away from those groupie girls.
Totally, yeah. And I came back vegetarian, so it kind of blew her mind that she was like, "Wait, I thought you were supposed to be like, a drug addict or
You're
something."
like, it's Lent every day, Mom.
Yeah. But then when I came back to Walla Walla, it was just kind of funny to sort of see these idiosyncrasies that were the same. Like, oh, there's a rock star. Oh, there's a winemaker rock star. And oh, how there's these reviewers that have their habits and behaviors, or fans that are total sycophants and followers, and then distributors and working with them and the challenges that come with them. And just one after the other, I was like, this is kind of funny. And then it kept going. This is very similar, actually. And so I did the first issue, and to make a long story short, there was a anonymous donor gave me $10,000 to give to a nonprofit here in town. So I thought, let's just keep it going. And so that went to the Blue Mountain Humane Society here, and just kind of put some gas in my tank to follow the trail of breadcrumbs and see what happens. And earlier this year, I was on the Imbibe 75 list, which is really cool.
Nice.
And just kind of keep going.
Man.
We had our first ever event this past summer that was actually here at this building. I think maybe some people I saw were at it, which is pretty much a full capacity, and going to do it next year. So super excited.
Right on, man. Here we go, man. All right. I got 2 more for you. Who would you most like to have a bottle of wine with?
Oh, man. I had the advantage of, like, hearing some of my peers go before me. It was probably, I don't know if this is going to sound overly, like, saccharine or sentimental, but probably, like, an ancestor. Probably a relative, like my great-grandfather or my great-great-grandfather. And just knowing how my family's gone and the different places they've lived and what they've done, I have this insight. So I think it would just be kind of curious to hear the real story, because it's like the telephone game where you hear like, oh, you know, went from this person to this person, to kind of like hear like, what was it really like, or what, and I imagine that if someone right now did your flux capacitor and came up to me and was like, you're my great-great-grandpa Stacy, like, and I'm from
and
the
you're
future.
a guy.
Yeah.
Fucked me up.
Yeah. So I think probably like, doing like a relative or doing an ancestor.
I love that. That's a great answer.
So,
Right
yeah.
on. All right. Fuck, marry, kill.
Oh, man.
So you brought a Bordeaux blend.
Oh, yeah, I did. So is that where you're thinking?
Yeah, I'll let him go. Yeah, I'll go there. Maybe not. I'm going to go weird. Syrah, Petit Verdot.
I like the oohs and the ahs.
Exactly. And then Sangiovese, because they make Sangiovese here, too.
Damn.
He said, damn.
Syrah, Petit Verdot, Sangiovese. Oh, man. I'm going to do the path of least resistance or the lowest hanging fruit and say I'll kill the Petit Verdot. Just those tannins, rip my face off.
Oh, but what about B. Layton's Pete Verdot? What the fuck? Anyway, okay.
Marry Syrah, probably fuck Sangio.
Okay.
But what about you? Those 3. Turning the tables on you.
Yeah, I like that. That's mine. You see, you could learn something as a guest there, George. Huh? I would. Yeah, unfortunately, I am going to have to kill Petit Verdot.
Yes. Smart.
And because I'm a Rhone guy, so I'm Marin's Syrah, and I'm fucking New World Sangiovese. New World Sangiovese. Cheers. So,
Sweet.
Stacy, tell everybody where they can find you. How they can be a part of what you're doing, man.
Mostly through Instagram, which is Blood of God's Zine. So just launched, my new issue came out last week. Everyone, that's the issue I mentioned that I brought with me today. Just launched subscriptions. It's a quarterly subscription. So just go on Instagram and look for Blood of God's Zine, and that's the easiest way to find me.
Hey, man, this is really cool.
Thank you.
I need this shit for this one. She's like, he's going to go off script. So a lot of you may know this young lady right here. My next guest is Kathryn Padberg. She's a retail sales director for the Walls Vineyard. This is like our third or fourth time talking, but we're not behind a screen, so she's like. So, hi, Kathryn.
Hi.
How did you get the job of talking to me?
Today?
Yeah.
They asked me to do it. Or they told me to it.
Yeah, I was like, okay, don't be afraid of the microphone. You
I
gotta
know,
sit
it's
back, relax. Adjust the mic, you can move it. I do this on a pod. I'm like, people are like, oh. So, Kathryn, really good to actually meet you. I met you IRL yesterday.
Yes.
Like I said, the Walls has been very supportive of the Black Wine Guy and the Black Wine Guy experience. And I've done a few, I hope I get them. I'm kind of like their guy for their releases. We do them virtually, but Mike, we need to do this shit more often, man. You know what I'm saying? So, Kathryn, where'd you grow up?
I grew up outside of Chicago in Northwest Indiana. So about 35 minutes outside the city.
Where, Gary?
Yeah.
Maryville.
No, Maryville. So
I know Maryville.
Really, truly right across the train tracks from Gary.
Yeah, it really is. I used to work in a nonprofit. I used to work in Gary, but I stayed at the Hilton Garden in Maryville. So I know Maryville very well. Yeah. Wow, you're from Maryville.
I am.
All this time, I didn't know that about you.
Yeah. I am.
It's kind of podunk. I'm not.
Oh, it's terrible. I think my mom is watching this. So.
Sorry, Mom. So was there wine involved in your life when you were growing up?
Kind of, but not really. My dad is a really proud German, and so everything was Riesling all day long, and the sweeter the better. So that's what I grew up with drinking, was Riesling.
You said, why are you ashamed of Riesling? Is a noble grape.
No, I mean, I
variety.
think it's wonderful. Great. Yeah, totally great. I don't think it'd probably be the cheapest option that he could find. Usually grocery store Riesling.
That wasn't actually Riesling. It was probably Leap. How was it? Leap from the.
Oh yeah, that was.
It was the blue. That's probably what it
Yeah,
was.
Yeah, and that
That's
was
what gave
definitely part
Riesling
of
a bad
it, too.
name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I grew up with that, and so that was definitely my first experience with Riesling, or with wine. Was
Yeah.
Riesling.
Okay. And I didn't. Again, another thing. So you were a professional dancer.
Yes. Yes, I was.
Right on. What cities did you dance in?
Since I grew up outside of Chicago, I danced in Chicago, and then I went to school in Columbus, Ohio. I went to Ohio State and got my master's in dance performance there. And then I danced in New York for about 3 years, and then ventured over to Seattle and danced in Seattle for about a decade.
So what troupe did you dance with in New York?
I did a lot. So I'm a contemporary dancer,
Okay.
modern dancer, and so instead of working with like one specific company, I would dance with a lot of independent choreographers. Yeah. So.
This is kind of like you think you know someone because you did like 3 Zooms with him. My cousin and his wife were professional dancers in New York City for like 20 years.
Yeah.
So it's so athletic. You have no idea what the athleticism it takes to be a dancer. So kudos to you.
Yeah, thanks.
So, who's? Oh, it's Georgianne. So did you cycle out of dancing into alcohol? Like, what was the transition?
Well, kind of, but not really. So dancers drink a lot of wine, just in general after shows and stuff like that. So I enjoyed wine. And while I was dancing, I worked as a barista for a really long time, then also had restaurant gigs, and I worked at wine bars and that sort of thing. So when I decided to step away from dance, just from the exhaustion that it does and the injuries that you have with your body, wine was just this really natural thing that kind of took over, and it took over really quickly, and it fed a part of me that's really similar to dance because it is so creative. And it is so ethereal, like it's different every single year, and just like dance, a performance is never the same one night to the next, just like a vintage is never the same one year to the next. So it really just fed that part of me so much.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And speaking of What'd you bring? What are we drinking? What are we drinking on?
I brought Pasha. This is a Pasha Grenache. It's the 2020 vintage. It's from River Rock Vineyard. So this is our estate brand, our estate label. And I'm a huge fan of Grenache. And so this was a really, I know, it's just so beautiful. So this is a really fun wine to showcase here and share with you.
What vintage is this?
2020. So this is not even released yet. So.
Little flight. I probably had this. I'm sure they. You didn't send this one to me yet? Are you sure? Okay. Get on that, Carrie. It's really delicious. Yeah, I mean, we had Stacy on, and I'm a music. There are these correlations between these creative endeavors, and I think wine kind of encapsulates it's just a natural progression. How did you end up in Walla Walla, though?
I was living in Seattle at the time and was just ready for a change. And I had started working a little bit more focused in wine when I was there, and I was just really starting to step away from dance, and I wanted a small town. And my partner at the time, we just kind of drove out to Walla Walla and was like, this is kind of cool. And there was wine here, and it was affordable, and that was kind of it. And then it all just like fell into place. Just kind of wild and crazy how life can be like that. It all just sort of just played out really well. So.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And how'd you get your job at the Walls?
I applied.
People apply for jobs?
I saw the posting and I was like, this is perfect. I applied and I got the job, and they hired me in March of 2020, which is a really, really
awesome time to start.
Awesome time to start
any
a new
job, actually.
Yeah, it was great. But I feel so fortunate, and I had a lot of time to sort of settle into the position, and those first 2 months, it really allowed me to learn about our customers and our members, and have that time to reach out to them through the phone and through email. And so I made all these really strong connections that have continued to grow and build the last couple years. So really nice. Fortunate time.
Yeah. How'd you find me? This is a weird thing. You sent me. How did that happen?
I think it was through Instagram.
Okay.
It was through the Instagram connection, and during COVID, we were wanting to figure out how can we present our wines in a way that our customers and our members could really jive with. And we're like, well, let's just talk about them with somebody. And you and I just connected immediately.
Yeah,
and so that's essentially just how it happened. I reached out to you, and you said yes. And then we're let's do it.
I don't know, but COVID was very, very good to me wine-wise. Had cases of wine showing up daily.
Yeah, we sent you wine. So
yeah, no, but the wines were spectacular. Who would you most like to have a bottle of wine with?
Yeah, so I was thinking about this question as well, and I have two answers. That's cool. So my housemate Robert and I were talking at length last night about Anthony Bourdain, and so I was like, oh, Anthony Bourdain would be so amazing to have a bottle of wine with, to just kind of talk about his travels and his perspective on life. And I love his book, both of his books, and I loved the TV programs that he's done. I just think he was an amazing human, so sad but so powerful in his perspective on the world and culture and travel. And it isn't so much about food and wine, but more about him and living.
Yep.
And then the other person would be my mom, because I give her wine and she starts talking, and it's amazing. The stories that I get from my mom are so good. So I love to share wine with my mom.
This questions, this could be a silly question, because it seems like you followed your passions from early on. But do you have any advice you'd give your younger self?
To not take yourself too seriously. It's a big one. Yeah. I think especially coming from this creative background in dancing, this striving for perfectionism, you always are trying to have it be perfect. And so I would tell my younger self, I'd be like, just take it in stride. It's all gonna work out. Don't take yourself too seriously.
All right, so fuck, marry, kill time.
Cool.
This is gonna be hard for you. Be very telling. You better watch your answers. Mike, Carrie, and Todd are listening.
I thought that was my fuck, Mary. I was like, no.
That would have been really hard. All puns intended.
I'd leave.
Grenache, Syrah, and Mourvedre.
Okay, well, I'd marry him. Oh, that's hard. That's actually really hard. I would probably fuck Mourvedre. I would marry Grenache, and I would kill Syrah.
I've had all of those single varietals from Todd. I've had blends from him, and that's a pretty solid answer.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel good about it.
Yeah. I mean, because like I said in the beginning, like Mourvedre is just not so known. It's like most people use it as a filler. It's GSM. You know what I mean? But like fucking Bandol, it's one of the great red wines of the world.
So good.
And Lace Winston was stupid, and just Grenache is just beautiful, but it can be slutty, it can be big, and I love Syrah, but that for where you work, good answer. Mike, give her a raise. Thank you so much, Kathryn, for coming on. Tell everybody how they can sit down. Tell everybody how they can be a part of, where they can find information on you at the walls. They should come visit you.
So the walls, vineyards.com, and then pashawines.com. So,
Awesome.
Yeah, and then Instagram and all that kind of good stuff. So.
All right. Well, thanks. You did well. I know you're nervous. Thank you.
I did.
I poured more wine. Like, I'm not going to be drinking this shit all weekend. But it's so good. I love Grenache. Hello. Oh, wow. She came like packing. Yeah.
I couldn't resist.
Yeah.
Oh, you need another glass.
I think Carrie's got it. Thank you.
Thanks, Carrie.
Oh, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Okay, so that's who had to bounce. Okay. Everybody, my next guest is Kelsey Albro. How do you say your last name?
Itameri.
Itameri.
Rolls off the tongue.
Kelsey, what do you do for a living?
I am the owner and winemaker at Ita Wines.
Whoa. What? 2 women owners?
Watch out, world. We're coming for you.
Listen, every man here who's married knows if mama ain't happy, nobody's happy. So,
Yeah, that's true. That is
so
true.
we can act all we want. But anyway. So, Kelsey, where'd you grow up? Where are you from?
I grew up in Seattle, Washington.
Pull your mic a little closer,
Okay.
dear. Thank you. Okay, you're from Seattle.
I'm from Seattle.
You from like
Seattle,
early
Seattle.
90 grunge Seattle? Like,
I'm from the Central District, like
Okay.
2 blocks from where Jimi Hendrix grew up.
I have on Jimi Hendrix socks
Very
because
good.
because the Black Wine Guy experience is like the experiences from the Jimi Hendrix experience. So
Yeah,
I thought it was
totally.
only fitting. My wife, she buys me crazy T-shirts and socks, and thanks, baby. So you were in it. So you grew up in Seattle.
Yeah.
Was wine a part of your life growing up?
Not really. When I was little, my parents didn't have very much money, so that wasn't really a thing. But then by the time us kids went off to college, they started to get into wine and Washington wine, and I definitely stole a good amount of Tamarack Chardonnay. Was a college favorite of mine. Yeah, from their basement. Yeah.
Yeah. So you brought like a barrel sample. It looks like.
I did. What's in your glass right now is a Nouveau style wine, so 100% carbonic maceration from 2022, this vintage. It's made from the Zinfandel grape. This is getting bottled next week and will be released on Nouveau Day, which I think is the 17th. Does it change of November?
No.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what this is. 10.5% alcohol. Some freshness.
Fresh freshness. I mean, the color is beautiful, but it looks like Kool-Aid when I was a kid. I'm just not gonna lie.
It
looks
does.
like strawberry Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
don't come bouncing. Kool-Aid's gonna come through the wall.
Exactly. So some people talk about serious wine. I don't really think any wine is that serious.
Oh,
But
this is fun.
yeah.
This is fun. You could you could drink this ice cold and it would still be good. Like, this is
Yeah.
fun.
This is the wine that's going to make you able to survive Thanksgiving with your in-laws. Is how I think of it every year. Maybe not you. One.
No, I don't
a
know,
person.
but at 10.5% alcohol, I don't think it's going to help getting through the in-laws, to be honest. It might help you get through all the drinking, but like, if you need, the in-laws are getting nervous, you
need more.
Yeah, you're going. Yeah,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to go to Todd's Wine. Only person out here making wines over 50% alcohol.
Exactly. Have a little something, a glass in the
little
cupboard.
something. But I love this. I love that. Where's the Zinfandel from?
It's from a vineyard called Les Collines in the foothills east of town. So I source all
Shut
my
up. There's Zinfandel in Washington State?
Yeah.
Who the fuck? I didn't fucking know.
Yeah, it has a hard time in some cooler years getting ripe, and I kind of was like, well, I see you, Zinfandel. I want to do right by you. I'm not going to try and make a really big red wine. So I had some friends who were also making Nouveau-style wines. My friend Robert Gomez at Hoquetis was the one who kind of was like, hey, we should both do this. And I was like, okay. And so last year was the first year I did this project with half a ton. I was like, I can afford to put that down the drain if I have to. And then this year I'm doing almost 2 tons of this, so I'll have a good amount. Yeah.
You guys need to jump on this instead of George.
I should have brought a larger sample. Sorry.
It's crunchy, and it's
Definitely
really like
crunchy.
strawberry bubblegum. It's just light, it's fruity,
Yeah,
it's
it's got
fun.
that carbonic
Yeah, it's got
candy.
that little crunchiness,
Yeah.
it's got all that, all that fun hipster wine stuff.
Yeah.
But it's good because I'm not a hipster, and I like it.
That
so.
was good.
Um,
I was
so-
nervous about bringing this one.
No,
I was a little nervous
Well,
about
like I said, it's like what I love about doing this is connecting with people and just the fun wines I get to try.
Yeah.
Right. So this is super fun. Like I did not know there was Zinfandel in Washington.
Yeah, there is. Here it is.
Allegedly, I didn't see it. Allegedly this is Zinfandel.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure this is Kool-Aid with a little bit of Everclear in it.
I paid too much for the research.
So, when did you fall in love with wine?
Gosh, I knew you were going to ask me this question, and I still probably don't have a great answer. I like to party. I did in college. I was a big fan of Andre peach flavor. That was my version of the baby duck, for sure. But then slowly started to steal better bottles of wine from my parents. But I worked in hospitality in high school and college, and then eventually a little bit later in my 20s, and really loved the hospitality experience a lot. And then I was working in San Francisco in bars, like neighborhood bars. It was the height of
Dive bars. She was like,
of
yeah.
Fireball. It was a very sticky time. But would go up to Napa and Sonoma, and I honestly didn't really know what I was doing except for drinking and trying different wines. And my parents bought property here in Walla Walla, and eventually my husband and I were like, maybe we're country mice. And so we just moved up here, and I started working at a winery and fell in love with the process, kind of like Ashley said. The process is beautiful.
Can I try the other one?
Yeah.
That's really cool. So, any advice you give your younger self? You've kind of been in hospitality, but like now you're making wine. Like, what would you say to yourself now, given all your wisdom? You're off the Andre Peach.
Yeah.
Off that train.
I would tell myself both to give more of myself and to give less of myself. I think I gave a lot of myself to like jobs that were shitty and not enough of myself to people I really cared about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Yeah. There's two ways of looking at it, and they're both true, right? There's two sides. No matter how thin you slice, there's two sides to a coin. Like, life is very short, or life is very long if you make bad decisions.
Yeah.
So that's great
totally.
advice. Who would you most like to have a bottle of wine with?
Okay.
I've had a lot of time to think about it.
I have thought about this. One, I have 2 answers like Kathryn did. Julia Child.
Ooh.
Because she seems like a boatload of fun. Seems like she knows how to drink, knows how to eat.
I can
knows how
vouch
to
she
cook.
knows how to drink. I
Yeah.
actually served her wine in Santa Barbara when I worked there. And I mean, she was really old, but she was like, "Oh, this is delicious."
Right. Just to spend a whole night
exactly.
of your
It's so
life
cool.
listening to her
Yeah,
talk.
yeah,
Like,
exactly,
oh my
right.
gosh, yes.
Yeah, that'd be a blast.
Yeah, and then the other person is probably the person I spend the most amount of time drinking wine with, which is my husband.
Oh.
But when you're married for a while, and I have a new baby at home, sometimes, you sit down on the couch and you think you're just going to watch TV, but then you end up talking all night and you're like, who is this person? And it's just the best, and you never know when it's going to happen. And so I would say.
I think that's every day
his
for my
name is
wife. She's like,
Kai.
"Who are you?"
He's great.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
That's beautiful. How old's your baby?
She is almost 3 months old.
Oh, wow. You
Yeah,
have a
she
baby.
knew.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's her name?
Her name is August.
Oh.
Yeah, August Jack.
I want to do some math. Was she born in August?
She was born in August,
There you
but
go,
her
okay.
name would have been August even if she came early in July. Yeah.
All right.
Anyway,
It's time.
Oh no.
Yep. Fuck, marry, kill.
Oh,
Wow.
sorry, what's in your glass now? Is
Oh, yeah,
Mer-
and
is,
tell me-
is
oh, yeah, tell me about
Merlot
this.
and a little bit of Petit Verdot, and by a little bit I mean 17%.
And before I get to FMK, kind of like, what's your philosophy here? What you
Okay,
do?
yeah, so I source entirely from the foothills area.
Okay.
Which is where my parents have property.
Okay.
So I just keep it super local, love the one you're with type
Very
thing.
cool. Love the. She's good. All right, so 3 grapes. Okay, so this is a Merlot. So Merlot is one of them.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm looking. What does she drink? All right, I'll probably go easy on you because I Merlot.
Because I'm sleep deprived.
Yeah, she's sleep deprived. I mean, you're a baby sleep deprived. Yeah, that's true. I'm time zone sleep. It's complete. You're way more sleep deprived than I am. I just got to suck it up and drink. All right, Merlot. We'll go. No, I don't want to do that because she's making a lights in. That's easy for her. She doesn't want to make she's not gonna make a bum with that. So Merlot, Chardonnay, and Sauvignon Blanc. Fuck with some whites.
Okay, yeah. I would definitely kill Sauvignon Blanc. Sorry. It's the cat pee. I have a hard time with it.
It's what?
The cat pee. Am I the only one?
Yeah. Am I in Washington State? Am I in Walla? You never heard of Delille Chaleur Blanc? The fucking most amazing white wine out of the... Are you... Anyway, go ahead. Okay, Cappy, got it.
Yeah, I can't deal with that. But I have to kill one
And
of
they're
them.
like, it's a blend, MJ.
I guess I would marry Merlot. I think they're a stable companion for life. They're loving.
The right
lush.
bank of Bordeaux thanks you.
Yeah. They're gonna be there for you. And then I guess I'll fuck Chardonnay. Yeah. Why not? For a good time call.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much.
Yeah,
This was a lot of
absolutely.
fun. Tell your people how they can find you and be a part of what you're doing.
We have a little tiny winery out at the incubators in the airport, which are for startup wineries.
I heard about that on my flight.
Yes.
You're okay, cool.
Yeah, yep. So I'm out there. It's in the middle of nowhere. But for an easier time finding us, the website is itawinery.com, and we're on Instagram, and all the rest.
She's so proper. Instagram.
Yes.
She's like got the queen wave when she says, so, I'm on Instagram.
Yes. Anyway, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I hope you can carry a glass and 2 bottles of wine. You have a baby. The kid's going to be in trouble if she can't do that. All right. All right.
Sir.
Hello, kind sir. All right. Oh, what's going on, man?
Something beautiful, something wine fashion would say this is my Prada selection.
Okay. Ooh. All right, everybody. I know you guys all know who this is.
Right. And I love all your wines. I want to buy this whole room.
Yeah.
I see you out there. Yeah, I sure would.
I know, because I'm the black wine guy.
I'm the other black wine guy.
He could be, you don't have to be Walla Walla. I was like, you should become Walla Walla black wine guy instead of Walla Walla Som.
I'm sorry, pleasantry.
It's all good. No, I'm gonna get you on the way out, bro.
You the man.
So this is James Darden.
Hey.
James, what you brought a Prada wine? What'd you bring, my brother?
Something that doesn't happen every day. This wine.
Pull your mic a little closer for me.
The wine grabbed me about 6 years ago. I was managing White House Crawford Restaurant. Then all of a sudden, this wine came in called the Rata. Actually, it was just dropped off. I was like, okay, we have this wine. It's Grenache. I think Grenache seems to be a great theme tonight, but has a little bit of Cabernet and also Syrah.
Ooh.
So to me, this was one of the most unique blends I've ever tasted, just because I've never tasted it ever. And I think it's a wine that has a lot of complexity, but it really does draw you in. I personally think if you're going to have a turkey and Thanksgiving, why not this wine? We have a quail on the list. I actually buy wine for a living, so T-Mac restaurant, and quail would be perfect with this.
Yeah, when you said that, I was like, quail would be great, because it's got like all that Grenache stuff going on, but then it's like, what else is in there, man? You know?
But it also has that, you see that the rocks has a DNA, a certain aromatic. I think this has really nice finesse. I think finesse is important. Her name is Elizabeth Boussier, and it starts there. There's always in this case, a gal behind the guy. Cayuse wines. I love Cayuse. I studied Cayuse for a couple of years, maybe 3 years, before I actually moved here. So I fell in love with what was happening with Walla Walla, and we came here for a tasting. About a house 4 months later, moved up here like Beverly Hillbillies. Yes, we did. Ask my wife. If it didn't fit in the U-Haul, we didn't take it. Somebody got the barbecue.
Oh, that's awesome, man. So, like, where'd you grow up? Where are you from?
Well, my roots are from North Carolina, but we made way to Northern California. And so at Napa, by way of Traverse Air Force Base, so I was a military brat, and then fell in love with wine. And then, age 26, found myself buying wine for a living in Napa.
Damn.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. I felt like I was on vacation and I was working at the same time, and got to meet a lot of great people. Yeah. I smoked cigars with Justin Meyer, Silvera, Robert Mondavi lived down the street, so I'm very thankful and blessed.
Yeah, it's really cool, man. For me, it's kind of similar when I moved out to Santa Barbara. Just like when you move to wine country, like you're just around like wine rock stars. It's pretty crazy.
I met Julia Childs.
Yeah.
All I said was, "You're Julia Childs." She's like, "Yes, son, I'm Julia Childs." Yeah. That was it. That was it. God bless Julia Childs. That was my story. That's it.
So, you've worked at some pretty impressive places. Like, you left Farniente to move to Walla Walla.
I left my 401k.
You're out your motherfucking mind.
Yeah. Well, it's called the leap of faith. I honestly, Walla Walla, when we left here after tasting wine at Gramercy, I think our first tasting was at Rasa, we just had this feeling. And at that point, my wife and I wanted to buy a house. It could have been in Napa.
Hell no.
But yeah, at that point, it was expensive. So we came here, and I asked her one question, quality of life, and we are able to copy and paste our lives. So, yes, I have to ask her. I got to buy her wine for a living, so I got to ask her to buy wine. She works at a Beja. Sorry, you can shout there, but honey, can I have that 2015 Syrah, pretty please? Yeah, that's how it happens.
So, like for you, like was there a bottle that hooked you? The bottle that really set you down this path?
Yeah,
of enophilia.
Yeah, Martha's Vineyard. Martha's Vineyard, 1988. I'll never forget it. It had that aromatics of eucalyptus. I'm like, why is there mint in my wine?
Exactly.
So I decided to go there and find out. I saw the rows of eucalyptus. I actually saw the site. And we got mistletoe, my wife and I, for Christmas. So I'm very in touch with it. Actually, waited on Martha May.
Oh, wow.
So the connections are there. So you don't forget. You know where you're at.
Yeah.
And so you're just always in the present.
Don't you love like how wine? And I said it when I was introing everybody. Like it brings people together, and it's like a portal to a time and place.
Yes. You'll never forget that great bottle of wine you had with your friends.
Yeah.
It's a catalyst. It brings people together. And like you said, nobody's going to get into a brawl when you're drinking wine. Nope. At least you shouldn't.
Yeah.
My brother and I did get snookered on Pump Jack, and he did kick me out of the car, but that was a different story. Pump Jack, heavy, alcoholic wine, my goodness.
Yeah, he was like, "You brought me screw top wine? Get the fuck out my car." Thought you knew something about wine.
I love
He's like, "It's $150 a bottle."
I love me some Pump Jack. 3 hours later.
Who would you most like to have a bottle of wine with?
I'd like to have a bottle of wine with Robert Mondavi. You know, there were a few times where I would meet him in an elevator. I wouldn't say you're Robert Mondavi, but I would thank him every time I saw him. I actually had lunch with him and sat next to him, so I was able to. I was that guy. I would ask like 20 questions, like kid, stop asking questions. But I think he brought the quality of life and the joy of the happiness of the pleasures of the table. So I've always been a fan of that, and I'm a little old school in all respects. So I do love the stories of what he brought to the table. Harvest of Joy, I loved his book. He actually signed it on my car. I tracked him down at a local restaurant. I was like, Robert, Mr. Mondavi, please sign my book. He goes, oh my God. Yes, I'll sign your book, son. Great to see you for the 3rd time this week. Yeah. I'm going to sign your book. Hello, neighbor. Hi. Yeah.
He's like, "This guy's stalking me."
Yeah. So what'd you think about the wine?
Oh, this is kick ass.
Right?
Yeah, no,
it's
this
really
is
a wine
pretty. It's fascinating. I've never had a Grenache Cab. What was there one?
Syrah
It was
Grenache
Syrah.
Cab.
It was okay. I haven't drinking. Okay.
That's why I bought it. That's why I
Jeez.
brought it. I thought you would appreciate
No,
it.
it is. It's
And it's
fucking
wine
me up.
appreciation.
Yeah,
right?
it is
It's
wine
not-
appreciation. It's beautiful. Any advice you'd give your younger self?
The advice I would give to my younger self, sincerely, I would say you were supposed to go through those hard times. You were supposed to. They were supposed
clap
to tell
for that.
They were supposed to tell you no.
Yeah, clap for that.
And then you find yourself living the American dream in Walla Walla.
Yeah.
And we moved up all the way here, and here we are.
Yeah.
That's my wife.
Yeah,
you.
that's awesome, man.
And
That's it.
I'm sorry to get all choked up, but that's really what I would say to my younger self. You're supposed to go through stuff.
Yeah. Listen,
And here we are.
Yeah.
I buy wine for a living. That doesn't suck.
No, that does not suck.
doesn't suck.
Right? It doesn't suck.
Dude.
It does not suck. And I really appreciate that because like that's like everything you're going through, like, you know, it just builds you. It can build you or break you down, and it's obviously built you up.
Yeah,
so that's
it's
fucking
very
awesome. Tell me one thing you love about your life.
I would say bring people to wine. That's always been my purpose. You know, I sell flavor. If they ask for it,
Ooh.
I do. You know,
That's the quotable. I
it's
sell
like, I want it to be
flavor.
fruit forward, or I want it to be bold and tannic. I want to feel like I'm back in Texas. I'm feeling it. Like, okay, there's a wine for you, sir. We got that wine. So, in making dreams come true, you know, I love being tableside. I'll always be tableside, I think, for the rest of my life, whatever it is. You know, I think hospitality has always been instilled in me through my mentors that I met in Napa. Claude Roaz, Mr. Auberge du Soleil, founder. He taught me everything. He taught me grace. He taught me that pleasures of the table are the most important. You know, it could be an iced tea, but it's going to go great with that lamb. I tell you what, you don't have to drink to have fun. But in this case, let's drink. Let me get some more. But yeah, life is worth living.
Oh, I love
And here
that.
we are.
Yeah. Cheers to that.
Yeah. And it's very nice to be next to you. Kevin Zaroli. I saw the YouTube, bro. It was great.
Oh, thank you, man. That was
Kevin
and,
Zaroli.
and he brought
Kevin Zaroli. That was my first wine book, by the way.
It's the only. I mean, it's the only one you need. Like if you had one book,
That's
that
where I
one would.
started.
Godfather of Wine Education in America.
Hands down.
Fuck those stupid
Windows
movies
of
you
the
see
world.
on that emerging streaming channel. It was Kevin's really. All right, I'm gonna make it super hard on you now. Fuck Mary,
FMK.
FMK. Fuck Mary, kill.
Can I ask my wife? Can I ask my wife first?
No, you can't. Napa Valley Cabernet Sauvignon. Washington State Cabernet Sauvignon. Or Left Bank Bordeaux. What you got, son?
Wow. Well, honestly,
He can't do it.
Washington State. I married you. I got a mortgage. I'm married. Hell to the yes. And and you know what? Okay, the other one is F. Yeah, I totally fuck Napa again. Yeah, I get that. Yeah, totally. I miss it. I'll be back there next month. And then and the other one I would
Left
kill.
Bank
but,
dead.
And the other one I would kill. What was the one I'm killing?
Left Bank Bordeaux.
Yeah, Left Bank.
Cabernet Sauvignon, yeah.
Honestly, New World wines are great.
Yep.
Things that are happening in Washington State specifically is incredible. I think Merlot has always been, this or that, but I think all varietals. I mean, Washington State everybody's got eyes on us, and that's great.
Yeah. That's awesome. And, you're right. You do have to choose Washington because you know what mortgage means? It's morte, to die. You're going to die here, so good for you.
Yes, let's go. We have
Twice
babies.
30 fucking years.
We got babies. Oh, my God.
And I'm with you, man. I if I'm in Bordeaux, I'm on the right bank because that right bank Merlot's banging. So thank you, James, man. Shit, we got to do this like proper. Obviously, thanks so much for coming on, sharing this delicious wine. When this is over, save some of that bomb and come out in the lobby and hang out and some more of that with you. All right, brother?
It'd be nice.
All right, man. Thanks so much, bro.
Thank you. Cheers. Yeah, and by the way, you need to follow me. I'm Walla Song.
I know. I got you.
Instagram, Twitter. Thank you very much.
That is your Walla Som, ladies and gentlemen. All right. We're like a Vanessa Williams song. We're going to go ahead and save the best for last.
I'll go with that. It's harvest, so.
Oh. A fucking real winemaker showed up.
That's right, motherfuckers.
But although the beer is a little suspect, I thought the saying was it takes a lot of good beer to make a great wine.
It takes a lot of cheap beer to make expensive
Yeah,
wine.
I mean, but I'll go back to college with you, bro.
Welcome to Walla.
Cheers. I have not had a Coors Light probably in 30 fucking years. That's awesome. Thank you for bringing that, man. Everybody, my next guest is Josh McDaniels. And now that I'm lit and warmed up, Josh was born and raised in Walla Walla, and at an early age fell in love with the wine industry. All right. Josh, how you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. It's been a long harvest, so I'm a little tired.
Yeah. Yeah, the mic moves. Everybody,
It
the
does,
mic,
yeah.
it moves.
I think James was fucking with it. Like Josh is up next. I'm gonna fuck with him.
Yeah. So is all your fruit in?
Tomorrow.
Oof.
Probably Saturday.
Well,
now on the
hey man,
forecast.
thank you for being here for that. Clap for him, like fucking. I feel special. Seriously, it's no joke. Obviously, you guys know I know a lot of winemakers, and to take some time to come and sit with.
Well, clap for my team. They're working their ass off.
Clap for the team. It's good to be the king. So, man, you grew up here. Wine a part of your life growing up here, or wheat like Stacy?
No, neither actually. Yeah, born and raised here, and my dad. We were pretty poor. My dad worked the night shift at the cannery here in town, and got lucky enough that Gary Figgins worked there at the same time, and he kind of got to know him. And I remember as a kid taking my dad lunch at like midnight, huddling under the heater in our nasty old Suburban, and that was Walla Walla back then.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot of money around here.
This is why I do this, because white guy, black guy, so much in common. My father worked the fucking midnight shift at the post office for 40 fucking years.
Fuck yeah.
And never even saw him, and we had a Plymouth Valiant So I just that's again that's what I love about this beverage, man. Doesn't sound like there was wine on the table growing up.
No.
But there was probably Coors Light. Actually, they didn't have Coors Light back then.
Yeah.
It was Coors Banquet beer.
The COs, yeah, exactly.
So how did wine come? When did you catch the wine bug? How did that come into play with you, man?
Yeah, so Gary Figgins worked at the cannery with my dad, and there was a lot of pride around that. I think at the cannery that a guy like Gary could have his own American dream story, get out of that, and now he's driving a few Ferraris and whatnot and rubbing it in my face. But so my dad would save up some money, and he'd buy some Sangiovese from Gary because that was his cheapest wine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Sangio.
I'd fuck the shit out of Sangio.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I like this guy.
This sexy lady. Yeah, but so that was going on. So I got to know Gary's son Chris, and they took me under their wing. And I was 15 years old, and my dad was an entrepreneur. He actually got hurt at the cannery, which ended up it was a big deal for my family at the time, but it ended up launching his entrepreneurial career. And now he's got a lot of money. I wish he had money when I was a kid, but thanks
Don't
a lot,
we all?
Dad. Yeah, but yeah, so I got to know the Figgins really well through my dad, and they took me in under their wing. And when I was 16, scrapping around in Spanish class at Walla High School, decided I'd start my own winery, and so just took a leap. And I don't know how the hell I talked anybody into giving me money, but I started that, and it kind of proliferated from there.
Okay, we gotta back that ass up because everybody here knows, but there's people live streaming. Like, who's the Figgins family?
Yeah, so Gary and Nancy, and it actually always pisses me off when people forget Nancy, because we've talked about this in the industry a bit. It's a male-dominated society, or industry, but there's a lot of incredible women that were very influential.
Absolutely, clap for that. Absolutely.
And so Gary and Nancy founded Leonetti Cellar in 1977, and I think the 82 Cabernet was named top Cabernet in America, and kind of just launched Walla and Washington wine qualitatively into the national and international wine scene.
Yeah. Thanks, Jay. And for people who might listen to this, like when I release it on the podcast, Leonetti, like you said, it's a cult wine out of Washington State. Was huge, got great scores from Robert Parker, and it's still iconic to this day. So you're friends with Chris, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of. He's a lot older than I am.
Yeah. Okay.
Like
He's a
reminded.
mentor.
Yeah.
A mentor can also be a friend, just so you know.
Yeah.
Who gave you money at 16 to make wine? You can't even drink it.
Yeah, it was
legally.
crazy. Yeah.
Legally, we all know. We were all drinking at 16. If you're in this room, what was that about?
Yeah, it was. In hindsight, I don't know. It was like I wouldn't invest in a dumbass 16-year-old kid. And so I got it was a couple guys, one out of Seattle, one out of Portland, my dad, and one other guy out of Portland actually. So. It worked pretty well. Like the first year, I think I made like 120 cases of wine. Sold it in like a month, and then kept kind of doubling that. And it was pretty fun, and it did really well. And so ended up going to college at the Enology and Viticulture program. And the Bear Stearns collapse, everything happened around end of 2008, and I kind of had a big growth year right there, and I ended up dropping out of college, which was really challenging. I was always had a lot of academic scholarship opportunities coming out of high school, and so it was a really big kind of paradigm shift for me, I think, and really kind of sad in a lot of ways. But I ended up getting maybe the best education I could have had through, going through that major economic collapse in the midst of a big growth year for my winery. And to pay for my winery, I worked for Leonetti, so I moonlighted and then moonlighted again for myself after school. So it was just a lot of hard work and trying to make something, and ended up working out.
Briefly talk about how that hard work ethos was transferred to you from your father?
Yeah, it's a great question. My dad, man, I might get emotional talking about that. My dad is.
It's okay, man. You saw me choke up. Sorry, it happens all the time.
Yeah,
okay.
it's your fault.
Yeah, it is my fault.
You know, my dad, I've seen my dad go through a lot of ups and downs. And, you know, business is, you know, somebody said earlier that, you know, no wine should be taken too seriously. And I totally understand that sentiment. But, like, you know, have you ever read Wine and War?
Yeah.
Yeah, great book, and it's like a good illustration, like the connection between the family business and wine, and like how that's their support system. Yep. And so, you know, having your own business, there's a really great relationship between having to make it and putting food on the table. And so, you know, I got my work ethic from my dad, and never giving up, and failure after failure that I had in my career early on. You know, just keep going. And, you know, if you ask, you know, what advice would you give to your younger self, I'd say just, you know, ignore the noise. There's, you know, the more success you get, and you know, people want to hate you for it, and, you know, fuck them.
No, listen, man. It's
believe in yourself and try to get after it.
Clap for that, man. It's, I mean, everybody up here is in the wine business, and you guys know it's just true. When you're building something, creating something, it's so hard, and people come at you, and you have to believe in yourself. Obviously, you have to believe in yourself. And the fact that you're 16 and you're making wine, you sold your 120 cases in like a month, I understand why you were a top 40. You were a 40 under 40.
Yeah, like you, man. Yeah,
no, I'm old as fuck, man. I joked about they would have to change it. I was never, unless they could do a 60 under 60, I was never going to make a list. And nobody's going to sift through fucking 60 photos online to see my black ass. So, but you do a lot of stuff, man. Former president of the Walla Valley Wine Alliance.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what was the bottle of wine that started for you? It's probably a Leonetti, but what was the bottle of wine? I don't want to put words in my mouth, but what was the bottle of wine that really just, you're like, yes?
Yeah, it's probably, you know, there are a few, obviously. You know, probably early 2000s, Leonetti Sangiovese.
That Sangiovese is so good. I'm so glad someone gets me on the Sangiovese too.
Yeah. She's sad, fuck her. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to be good to the house because I could talk to you forever, bro. But you also have to tell everybody about this wine you brought. It's delicious before we do FMK.
Yeah, so this is 2019. This is a state reserve. I'm a big fan of winemakers like Jean-Louis Chave and kind of like the attention to detail in sites. Mm-hmm. So when I got to take over Doubleback, it was really important to me to develop our estate vineyards. And so this is just simply the best red wine that we can make off of our estate vineyard sites. And 2019, you know, business and winemaking is so much more sometimes than just making wine. So 2019, we started our own farming company. And, you know, Drew and I made this commitment to, you know, we hired our own farming company to do the right thing. And so, you know, we committed to like making them one of the top, if not the top paid vineyard crew in the Northwest. We have full health insurance, retirement benefits, and we keep them
Clap
employed.
for that. Because that's a part of sustainability that gets left out. It's not about the farming. Are you taking care of the people who help you make the wine?
Yeah, somewhat, you know, sustainability gets so greenwashed sometimes.
Yeah.
And you know, the most important thing, one of the most important pieces of that is the people aspect.
Yeah.
And so it was a big commitment, but the cool thing was that it paid off in qualitative dividends like we didn't really expect. So we've got a great team around us, and you know, to be able to make impacts on people's lives is pretty cool.
And what's in this blend?
So this is a 72% Cabernet. Then there's 25% Petit Verdot and 3% Merlot.
FMK, where do I go with Josh to end the night, everyone? Yeah, I'm gonna fuck.
Fuck them all. Or?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Well, I did ask that to Jeb Dunnick, and he was like, I'm not doing it. I'm fucking them all. I was like, okay, menage a Jeb.
Like
menage a Jeb.
Yeah.
How does your wife feel about that?
Yeah. I had dinner with Jeb this year, and maybe I shouldn't say that, but he's like balance is overrated, and I was like tannins underrated. Fuck yeah. Fuck this natural wine shit.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even get into the natty shit.
Good marketing.
Yeah. All right. So
Oh God.
it's gonna be. I'm gonna go back to Cabernet Sauvignon, Petit Verdot, and Sangiovese.
Yeah. That's easy. Yeah, I'm gonna kill Petite. I love it, but it's love and
Same,
hate.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna fuck the shit out of Sanja. I love that lady. Like, she is beautiful, voluptuous, sexy. But Cabernet, I'm already married to her, so she's gets better with age, and something that should get better each time you visit it. So.
Right on, man. Josh, thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you.
We'll do this again. I have good news for everybody who was on the stage tonight. You've passed the test. I will do a full podcast with you.
Oh yeah. I just want to say thank you for being in Walla Walla. It's when I was a kid, there was nothing here, and to see the growth, and all of these incredible people that have contributed to that. It's cool to have people like yourself here and experience it, and then go and sharing that with everybody else. So thank you.
Thank you, man. Thank you, man. Just stay right here while I wrap it up. All right. First of all, you got to tell people how they can find you, how they can be a part of what you're doing here in Walla Walla.
Yeah, website's easiest, BledsoeWineEstates.com. We have 3 wineries, 2 here in Walla Walla, 1 down in Willamette. And yeah, we'd love to have you at one of our places. So
Thank you. Yeah. And for everybody who's here tonight, let me tell you something. I've never done this live before. Thank you so much for inviting me into your home, your house, your wine region. Thank you for the love you've shown me. Time is very valuable, and you guys took time out of your life to spend time with me tonight, and I don't take that lightly. Everyone who was a guest here, thank you so much. Again, I want to thank the entire team at The Walls. I want to thank the Walla Walla Wine Alliance, who will be sponsoring season 6 of the podcast.
Good plug, businessman.
I ain't fucking around, man. And to all my mavericks, philosophers, deep thinkers, and wine drinkers, it's your boy MJ. This has been the Black Wine Guy Experience. Peace.